respected Vice-Chancellor Professor Dibakar Chandra Deka ji, respected Chief Guest Shri Benjamina, IDAS, former Registrar of Mizoram University, and other speakers, Professor Khiangte, Professor Diwakar Tiwari, and speakers from 3 associations, heads, deans, heads, and different officers of MZU, very dear students. I'm very happy. I think we have a chief guest who doesn't require any special introduction. But still it is my responsibility to say a few words about him. Professor Benjamina basically is from Defense Accounts Services, and he joined Mizoram University as Registrar in 2005 December, and he continued as Registrar till 2011 March. So more than 5 years he served Mizoram University. But the timing in which he joined Mizoram University is very crucial from the infrastructure point of view. And at that time, Professor A.N. Roy was the second Vice-Chancellor. University was started just practically 5 years back. And infrastructure development, physical infrastructure development and filling up of the teaching positions was the priority. And they did it with a great team spirit. And I was one of fortunate faculty members who was there and who has been associated with Professor Benjamina as Registrar. And I feel academics was not his choice. He chose a different field, but he has a natural love and heart for academics that we could understand within 10 minutes of meeting him first time. And after that, he continued as Commissioner and Secretary of Higher and Technical Education in Mizoram. He chose that particular, he was selected rather on that particular field. And even now, he has been associated with the Synod, Viltu committee. And this particular committee is responsible in providing required counseling and guidance for the students aspiring for competitive examinations in Mizoram. He is still active in that. But now he wanted to be a simple farmer and gardener. He is very active in that, and he loves that particular position. And when I saw him today without a walking stick, I felt very happy. And is more physically also is more active now, and is quite healthy. And he retired as Principal Controller of Defense Accounts, Southern Command, and that position was equivalent to Lieutenant General rank. So it is about him simply, but in one simple sentence, I would like to say about him that he is one of the most influential and impactful statutory officers of Mizoram University. So thank you very much, sir, for obliging our request and to spend this particular evening with us. And incidentally, this is not only the observance of Vigilance Awareness Week, and incidentally, this 2025 is our Silver Jubilee year. And we have been conducting different programs. We have planned different programs as part of our Silver Jubilee celebration. And Mizoram University has been observing the Vigilance Awareness Week in the month of October, which coincides with the birthday anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Tomorrow would be his 150th Jayanti, and he was born in 1875. And Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel made significant contributions to the development of civil services in our country in terms of merit-based recruitment, impartiality and incorruptibility, administrative reforms, and nation building. This is also the occasion to make an introspection and ask ourselves a question. Has India emerged as a country as visioned by our leaders of yesteryears? That is the question that lingers in the minds of common citizens of this country, because we have vision to become a Vikasit Bharat, a developed India in next 20 years. No doubt India has made significant progress in different areas. India is on track to become the third largest economy by surpassing Japan in a couple of years in terms of the size of GDP. Indian executives are making waves in global businesses by leading some of the world-class companies. But on the flip side, India is still a developing country. We need to wait 20 years more to see ourselves as a developed nation, 2047 Vikasit Bharat. And India and Japan, they were in the same state of economic development in 1950, because at that time, 75 years back, India suffered due to a prolonged Allied rule for more than 200 years, and Japan was devastated in World War II. But for Japan, they took just 25 years to emerge as a developed nation, but India is still struggling as a developing nation. And of course, India is also comparable with China, another Asian country. China and India were quite comparable in 1980. At that time, China and India have similar GDPs. In fact, India's per capita income was higher than that of China in 1980. That was reality. But by 2018, China's economy was 5 times larger than India's. Just to see the change. So what is our problem? What is India's problem? What is the root cause for India's underdevelopment? Here are some statistics. Yes, we are going to be third largest economy in terms of GDP, but in terms of HDI, Human Development Index, which focuses on healthcare, education, and sustainable livelihood opportunities, access to education, quality education. In terms of HDI, India's rank is just 130 out of 193 countries. India is a highly corrupt country as per Transparency International, and 50% our black economy is also known as parallel economy of India. It is more than 50% of our GDP. And if you compare the GDP of many nations in the world, and their GDPs are not even half of the black economy of India. 47% of ministers and 30% of MPs and MLAs, they have serious criminal record. As per their own confession, 1% of Indians, they hold 40% of wealth. And the bottom 50% of Indians just hold 6.4% of wealth. And in 2024, last year, 3 economists, they received a Nobel Prize. And their work is very much interesting, and they did work on a similar theme in different ways. And they inquired into the prosperity of different nations across the globe. And they found the countries which have inclusive institutions, inclusive public institutions. That means these are the institutions, they have capacity, they proved that they have capacity to create long-term benefits for every citizen. But there are certain countries, they too have public institutions, but they are often known as extractive institutions. That means they are known for extracting things from the society, and the people who are running those institutions, they have short-term gains, and basically they feel that those institutions are their subservients. And then what is our role? I mean, as far as this, not only this week and beyond this week also, what is our role as a higher education institution and as teachers basically? And there is one well-known institution which you know, that is Association of Democratic Reforms. This particular organization, Ahmedabad-based organization, it is responsible for bringing out many electoral and political reforms in the country, and they didn't happen because of parliament, they didn't happen because of judiciary, and they didn't happen because of the governments. And what are the changes they brought? Declaring a source of income of spouse and dependents, they made it mandatory. Now it is mandatory. And landmark judgment of Supreme Court against electoral bonds, it happened because of this particular association. It is a non-profit, non-government association. And making the candidates who are going to contest in elections, making them responsible to declare their criminal background, if any. And who are the people behind this Association of Democratic Reforms? Basically, there are three people and many people: Trilochan Sastry, Jagdeep Chokar, Ajit Ranade. And interestingly, they are the teachers. One of the persons, he expired just a few days back. They were the teachers and they were the professors of management in IIM Ahmedabad. And this organization is being led by the teachers alone. So, that is why there is a role to play as teachers, as higher education institutions to make a change and to make India a better place to live in, and to make our next generations, right, to realize that we have not harmed their interests. So with this introduction, because this is a panel discussion, please allow me to speak. Thanks for allowing me to speak a few words. And now I will go to the program, a main program. And now, it is like this. And Shri Benjamina is going to be the keynote speaker, and he will give his keynote speech, followed by some speeches, certain speeches by people like Professor Liana Khiangte and Professor Diwakar Tiwari, and speakers from 3 associations. Then our Vice-Chancellor, he wants to give the closing remarks before the Registrar gives his vote of thanks. So that is the program sheet. So thanks for your presence. And now, may I request our chief guest, Shri Benjamina, to give the keynote speech on this occasion.
First of all, let me thank Professor Jyoti Kumar for promoting me as a professor. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's good to be back here in the MZU campus, where I am immediately recognized as a professor and not as a pensioner. Respected Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dibakar Chandra Deka, and Professor Laltluangliana Registrar, Professor Laltluangliana Khiangte, Dean, and Professor Diwakar Tiwari, Director, IQAC, Deans, Head HODs, and representatives of MIZUTA, MUNTSA, and MZUSC, and all the august dignitaries of MZU fraternity who are gathered here to observe this very important central government program, the Vigilance Awareness Week 2025. I'm delighted to be invited to share my thoughts and to interact with you all. It's been a long while, 14 years, 7 months. And it's always good to be back here in this campus. And it brings back, a lot of sweet memories for me. Everything is sweet for me, okay? I want to make that very clear. I am going to seek your indulgence because I'm going to talk a bit about the past. I would like to take a walk down memory lane with you all and share my perspectives on what vigilance meant to me when I joined this university Let me start with my favorite poetry by Robert Frost. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and I could not travel both and be one traveler. Okay? Two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and I could not travel both because I'm one person. That was the situation when I joined the university in the month of December 2005. What do I mean by this? Actually, I was ready to go on deputation either to university or to the ministry, because I came for the interview and I was already empaneled for central deputation. So both came, right? I was appointed as director in the ministry in Delhi, and I was appointed here as either registrar or finance. The choice was up to me because I attended both the interview. So I chose to be here in MZU. The road less traveled by. And what a difference it has made for me. So I want to start with that. It was a kind of a different career path that I have chosen, because I was already empaneled as joint secretary. I could have become perhaps joint secretary in the ministry. But I think it was more important for me to be here with my people and my state. So that's how I want to start my keynote address. Now, Vigilance Awareness Week. What is the meaning of vigilance? In simple words, it's being watchful, being alert, okay? And attentive. For what? Being watchful, attentive, alert, for what? Obviously, for potential danger or trouble. Why do we need to be watchful for this potential trouble and danger? Because we need to have, this is what I feel, this is, the dharma for me, is that you need to have a sense of ownership. I may be from a different background. I may not be from a regular university fraternity. But once I decided to be a part of this, I become a real stakeholder. So that sense of ownership is very important for me. And the position of a registrar is something new for me. I studied at Nehum. I don't remember interacting with the registrar ever. So I have no clue of what the duties of a registrar would entail. So immediately, what did I do? I started going through the acts, statutes, the ordinances. Then I get to understand, yes, this is my duty as registrar. And what is that? To be the custodian of records of the common seal and then of the property and other responsibilities given to me by the Executive Council. And also to be responsible for issuing notices, making the minutes, and conducting official correspondences. Yes, okay, I'm clear about my mandate here. Now, while going through the acts and the statutes, and then in the month of January, when I went through the acts, then I realized, as the custodian of the records, what am I supposed to have? I started like questioning. All right? What about the records that I am supposed to be the custodian of? Where is the lease agreement for this? What is the boundary? What is the campus size exactly on paper? As per the records of the government of Mizoram, I couldn't find I'm going to be very blunt today. After 14 years, and I'm a retired person, and I am sharing this all for your benefit anyway. So I couldn't find the lease agreement. So nobody could tell me what is the boundary. There used to be one chokidar, then they told me he knows it. No, this is not the way. This is not the way. Then I issued an order that I will initiate disciplinary order, like action, against the person who has lost, misplaced, or kept this. And you know what? The next morning, I found it on my table. All is good. All is well that ends well. So matter closed. Okay. I just joined, so I don't want to make myself, too unpopular. So anyway, when I went to the lease agreement, I realized nothing is mentioned about Mizoram University. Everything is Nehu. Okay? So as the custodian, I have to correct this. That is agenda number 1. And then I found that in the Acts, it is mentioned that properties of Nehu should be transferred to MZU. Transfer of assets and liabilities. Where is the documentary evidence that we have, done this? Assets and liabilities. I am from accounts background, okay? And I understand this. So I asked, nothing. So that means, though we have already completed 5 years, nothing was in our name. Some work has already been done, 5 years have already gone. Then I decided, give it to me, those documents. I went through it, made some whatever necessary documents, corrections. I rushed down to Nehu. And I phoned the registrar there, Professor Kathing, I'm coming down. We have to complete this transaction. So I went and I said, you signed here, I signed here. Assets and liabilities transferred. That's the documents. See, these is how I perceive being vigilant. That's how I started my innings here. And another gray areas linked with this is that it's mentioned in the acts of the university that annual accounts shall be prepared every year. And will be submitted to the EC and the court, and then sent to MHRD and to the visitor. 2006. Unfortunately, we haven't yet started anything. I am not pointing out the faults of my predecessors. I am only making a statement of facts of what was the situation then. Okay? And so it's a long 5 years have gone. We haven't done anything about our annual accounts. That's dangerous. That, is the potential danger and the potential trouble for the university. Anyway, we engaged some people to help us. And in all these activities, I want to share, say this, that my Vice-Chancellor, Professor A.N. Rai, both of us, we were in one mind always. And our primary objective was always in the best interest of the university. Whether he is sitting in his office and I'm somewhere there, if anyone cross-check, what is to be done about a particular situation, we always used to speak in one voice. And people used to, wonder, how is it possible that they managed to, communicate this, share this, their thoughts and ideas. But that's the way in which we worked. And I must remember, mention the name of Professor N. Rai. So, some of the major hurdles removed. And now, coming to the, I am given how much time? Okay.
Up to you, sir.
Oh. Yes, vigilance. In central government departments, we have been observing this Vigilance Week for many, many years. And I have participated in, this Vigilance Awareness Week program many, many times, taken the oath and these campaigns and so on and so forth. But let us look at what are the major vigilance issues concerning universities, central universities. I'll only touch upon 3 areas. The first one is, obviously, because the most important from vigilance angle, financial mismanagement and corruption. Unfortunately, universities also have to face this, challenges. Even in, higher learning, this is something that we have to be watchful, be alert, be attentive, that we do not get into trouble. Now, the environment in which we live now, we have, in the recent past, many scams in the universities, Viswabharati, and even close by, Tripura University and Nagaland University, and there are many more, perhaps. So, this is very real, a real threat for us. And we need to be alert, watchful, and attentive. Who should be alert and attentive? I don't see DFO now. Is it the role of the finance officer alone? Or is it the vigilance cell? I think that is a very important question that we have to think today. Now, in central universities, unlike state, at least in my time, there was no problem of funds. In fact, we struggled with a situation. More funds that we could spend. Literally, I had to say, no, I don't want. That was the situation. And when you have funds, then, there are dangers. And then, in the university, where you have only good people, teachers, they are not quite savvy sometimes about financial management issues. I spent about 8 years of my service career giving defense financial management to Army, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. So, even this uniformed people, they said no, accounts, finance, that's not our duty. You can't just run away as long as you need funds for your unit and formations. And similarly, we can't just say that I'm a teacher, that finance is not my baby. No, that is not acceptable, because there could be as deans, as heads, as vice-chancellors, as pro-vice-chancellors, you could be involved in financial matters. So it is very important that you familiarize yourself with what is provided as per the rules, as per the procedures. Now, let me share some of the challenges. We want that the infrastructure development should come up as quickly as possible. How do we go about this? Almost 1,000 acres land to be developed. And all the departments, most of the departments, not all, were in the cities, in rented buildings. And even the library was in, like in the city. So, and partly here, partly there. That's not the way the university, like should function. So we need to pull down those departments located in the city as early as possible. This was the year 2006, and that's when we started like doing. We started like, construction of buildings which could be complete, like within 11 months, so that we can bring down those departments. And we need various buildings for departments and schools. So we end up engaging CPWD. We loaded them to the fullest maximum capacity. NBCC, NPCC, ECIL, and like that. That's how, we could come up so quickly in the infrastructure development. Now, over and above that, the departmental. We did a few works here and there. The moment you handle contracts, it attracts a lot of attention. And with that, dangers. Dangers. Contract, particularly in the Northeast, is full of dangers, pitfalls. So, anyway, I don't want to go too much into that. And another challenging areas is that, inadmissible claims being, processed. You don't have it anymore. You have passed all those hurdles, but it was real in my time. I think it is safe to say now, yes. No one is from the Nehu days. No one is here from the Nehu days. One inadmissible claim was HRA at Silong raid. I tried my level best to explain. It's Taston-wise, this HRA. This is not Silong. But then the argument was, no, but we are from Nehu. But you are no longer a part of Nehu. You are here in MZU now. So those were some of the issues that we had to, face. Anyway, that's the past. Now, another area which is of importance is that TADA is not a source of income. It's never to be considered a source of income. It should be as per rule, entitlement only, and nothing more. Okay? But when you we were functioning more like a state university when it was Nehu campus. So changing the mindset of the people was a big challenge. So these are, it looks ridiculous now, but then it was quite a problem. Now, let me come to the current situations. Financial mismanagement and corruption. One of the area is Now, fortunately, MZU ranking is quite high now, isn't it? We are graded well by the assessors. The NAC accreditation is good, but then this is where the danger lies. Huh? I hope we are not resorting to any malpractices, but this is happening in many universities. Okay? Trying to influence the grading of the assessors. This is one very important area. And then what is the solution? I brought out some of the challenges. What is the solution? Esteemed members of the university, learned teachers, I know in your line, you are the expert. In your particular subject, you're the expert. But you cannot ignore the provisions of GFR. You have to always, refer the GFR provisions, because that's applicable to you, to your university. So, and when we talk of GFR, there are many provisions, but this canons of financial propriety, standards of financial propriety, that is the crux of the entire GFR provisions. Familiarize yourself what it says. It's simply, when you spend your own money, you're careful. So apply the same prudence when you're spending public fund. That is what it's saying. Then you should be clear about the necessity. No, don't just buy what you want. Spend your funds, university funds, for what is necessary. And then you should not, just because you have the position, the authority, you cannot spend public fund for your self-interest, self-benefit. And whatever expenditure you incur should be for public benefit, which is enforceable. And another area that I must quickly bring into attention is strengthen your internal audit. Internal control mechanism must be robust. That is absolutely essential. And then when it is mandatory that you face CNAG's audit, go through the audit remarks. Learn what they have to tell about the health of your organization, the financial health of your organization. The purpose of the CNAG audit is so that you learn. You understand what are the pitfalls, what are the areas where there could be danger. Now, the second one that I would like to talk about is irregularities in appointments and promotions. Now, one of the most dangerous assignments is recruitment. I am terribly scared of this recruitment thing. I am not normally scared of anything but recruitment. Yes, I am. And as Professor Jyoti Kumar mentioned, there was a lot of recruitment during our time. Maximum. Post-sanction. Teaching and non-teaching. Teaching, not too much of my headache, because I was not a part of the selection committee, but non-teaching, my headache. Okay? And you see, we painted the town red always with news report about what's happening in MZU. There used to be newspaper reports about recruitment done, where we are, like this thing, favoring lot of people, near relatives, my relatives. But before the interview itself, I have not done the interview. Okay? But nevertheless, those were the kind of fingers pointed at the university authorities then. And then another big issue was, fortunately, we used to have a lot of applications. So, particularly for assistant professor, at entry, you need academic excellence. So we decided, for screening, we'll adopt this first, 4 first class. We became very famous for this. 4 first class. Many occasions, people used to shout at me also, who are you to tell, 4 first class? And then another issue, son of the soil. I am son of the soil, but in central government, there is no such thing as son of the soil. You have to sell those to the people here. Not very easy, but we stood our grounds. I am happy to say that none of my relatives are in MZU. So this is how I could ward off those attacks. And now, when we flout procedures, there is always a danger of increasing court cases. Okay? These cases may be right or wrong, but it does not reflect well on the university, the image. So we have to be watchful, be alert, be attentive of these issues. And avoid it. At all costs, avoid it. Ensure that the screening is done, judiciously. And the selection committee, recommendations are based on merit alone. Let me share with you what I did in Mizoram government, not here. We were recruiting some college teachers. I was the chairman of the committee. We had representatives, subject experts from MZU, and the dean came of that particular subject. The committee was unanimous in its decision that this person is the best as per merit or performance, but not a local. Now, immediately there were pressures. And I was told that my recommendation will not be accepted. I said, very well. I put everything down, the allegations made against the selection committee. On a file, I said to my minister, I'm sending the file. I called my additional secretary. I said, take the file with you. And also tell the minister that I am not going to change. I cannot take the responsibility of recruiting other than the best, based on merit. That burden, 35 years, that teacher will be teaching. I do not want that in my conscience. So I said, if he wants to change it, he can change it, but I can also go back tomorrow to my department. So I put it back that way, very bluntly. Fortunately here, that kind of pressure in MZU wasn't that strong, because we have central government. We said no, green letterhead, niche mein, drawer mein. Never to be, taken out again. That's how we did it. So, and another area where I think now we have to be careful, even those days perhaps we could make some few mistakes as well. Documents. There could be frauds. we have to be careful while, examining this. I remember one case where I made a mistake. Because whether the person's degree is under UGC recognized institution or not, you can make that kind of mistakes, and that could be very costly. So these are and promotions also. I think promotions, timely and proper, scrutiny of eligibility is very important. Don't deny if they're due, because that will demoralize the faculty people. And then something of not my area, but still, academic and research. This is another area which is a concern for universities. Because we have researchers, we have projects, funds, but we have to understand those a public fund, and we have to be judicious in the way we utilize the fund, and there should not be double billing and data manipulations. So these are some unethical practices. That's very important. And plagiarism, sorry.
You can use it.
These are the areas in this academic and research misconduct or which can come in. Now, I would like to talk many things, but then there are other speakers. The theme is shared responsibility. That means convergence, collective efforts. Now, this is always not that easy, I understand, in a university environment, because we join a department, we grow up in that department, and we become part of the school. So, a holistic approach sometimes gets a bit difficult. Right? I hope you agree with me. I know it very well, your problems. But this is something all of us will have to learn. Not just our own school, not just our own department. Shared responsibility, convergence, collective efforts. You can't leave it to internal audit, finance, or vigilance committee. It's our responsibility. And now, what are the strengths of the MZU that we have to ensure that, this continues? The communal harmony. We are in the Northeast. It is good that we have various communities here. And that harmony must be maintained. And then ragging free. But I want to add, drugs free. It's a big, big thing now in our campus. Drug free. These are the areas where we have to focus now. And 1,000 acres of land, the biodiversity of this. This is a treasure. One visitor who came, a very prominent person, we were just, I was just explaining about the campus. He said, why don't you plant that tree, this tree, that tree? He mentioned a lot of things. I said, sir, with due respect, when you all come to visit us, we want you to appreciate our flora and fauna. And we are proud of it. This is what I told him. And that, shut him up. Nice. Now, one area slightly out is confidentiality. It was a problem during my time. I am sure it is not a problem now, but I want to bring this issue, which was a real problem for me. Decisions of the EC, before the minutes are circulated, have already circulated. Before the EC meeting concludes, we already got to know about it. That is not becoming of an university. And okay, so now I think I should conclude now. I've taken long enough. Let me share, how important is an university? Besides being its temple of learning, this is where innovations take place. This is where development, ideas are mooted. This is the future of the university. This is the role of higher education. And we want the good name of MZU to continue. Greater deeds remain. We can reach higher levels and standards. But in order to do that, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty and freedom. Okay? Unless all of us who are gathered here, you are the key people here in this university. Unless you have a sense of belongingness, ownership. Yes, if this happened, then it hurts me. I didn't care what blows were given to me during my time. I took it, but I stood my ground. Let me brag. I sought your indulgence in the beginning. But at the end, and I took the road less traveled by, and it has made all the difference for me. I am able to say what I wanted to say with full confidence, with clear conscience. So, my best wishes to the Vice-Chancellor and his team of learned teachers, and from the non-teaching side, let me again say one thing. I am not a teacher, though Professor Jyoti insists that I am. I am not a teacher. I was never a teacher. Non-teaching, teaching also cannot deliver on their own without the help and support of the non-teaching staff. We complement each other, both teaching and non-teaching. For what purpose? To deliver quality education. The students. We are here because of the students. Okay? I think we should never forget that. Thank you so much.
Sir, thank you very much. Highly motivational speech, inspirational speech. And I might have mentioned Professor Benjamina as a slip of tongue, but now I mention you as Professor Benjamina with intention, because now UGC rules also allow us to have Professor of Practice. PhD is not compulsory, not mandatory. And that would really help teaching learning process in higher education institutions. He is having rich experience with the different institutions at the university, in Mizoram, outside Mizoram, in different ranks, in different positions. So universities, they deserve to have rich experienced people like him. So thank you so much, sir. And you have used the word dharma, which I liked very much. And there are certain words in Indian languages for which there is no correct English words. And your own experiences and your vision about Mizoram University, you have beautifully spelled out. And I'm sure under the leadership of our Vice-Chancellor and our heads and our deans and heads, we are not going to disappoint you, certainly. Thank you very much. And once again, I thank you for sharing your time. And in future, hopefully we get many opportunities to interact with you at Mizoram University. And now I request Laltluangliana Khiangte, and the purpose of having his name here is not because he's a senior professor. Of course, that is one reason, but that is not the sole reason. Literature has a powerful role to play in imparting ethical values, moral values, since the childhood. And Professor Khiangte, as we know, is our Padma Shri, right? And he created a lot of literature for different sections of the people in Mizo society. And that is why, that perspective we want to have from you. Thank you, sir.
I don't have the liberty to cross 10 minutes, okay? And so I will confine myself within 10 minutes, okay? Chibai to all of you, while observing this kind of sensitization program, come panel discussion. Today, Kaput Chairman, Chief Guest and Vice Chancellors and friends, vigilance is not only a legal administrative requirement, it is the foundation of a responsible and ethical society. It implies a constant awareness, moral strength, and a commitment to safeguard public trust. In the context of Mizoram University, vigilance should not be confined to preventing corruption and misconduct alone. It must also inspire a spirit of honesty, self-discipline, and integrity among teachers, officers, and students, teaching and non-teaching staff. Every individual, regardless of his position, has a duty to uphold transparency and fairness in daily actions. The Holy Bible instructs us, be on your guards, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, and be strong. 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 30. This is so sweet to us. I want to mention today. Okay, be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, and be strong. This verse beautifully captures the essence of vigilance as a virtue rooted in moral courage and spiritual steadfastness. True vigilance is not motivated by fear or punishment, but by love for righteousness and duty. The great playwright poet William Shakespeare rightly said, "Wisely and slow they stumble that run fast." I repeat, wisely and slow, semicolon, they stumble that run fast. This is beautiful. His words reminded us the careful thought and steady actions are the keys to preventing errors and ensuring justice. Vigilance. Vigilance, therefore, is a call to think before we act and remain watchful in the face of temptations and complacency. Indian statesman and philosopher Dr. S. Radhakrishnan once remarked, "Character is the highest virtue of man. Without it, knowledge and powers are dangerous." I repeat once again, character is the highest virtue of man. Without it, knowledge or power are dangerous. Okay. This profound insight reminds us that vigilance must begin within the self, guarding one's conscience and from corruption, ego, and greed. Therefore, vigilance is a shared moral enterprise. Say, Vigilance Awareness Week, and our team is vigilance, our shared responsibility. This is a responsibility for all, big and small. When every member of an institution stays true to ethical values and courageous resist wrongdoings, we collectively build a just and transparent community. Okay, let this panel discussion, having 10 minutes, it's to my two next speakers, or like some speakers as well. It is a turning point. I should say it is a turning point, awakening all of us the conviction that vigilance is not a momentary act, but a lifelong responsibility. It is not a momentary act, but a lifelong responsibility. That is all what I have to say today. And so, thank you. Kalome Daniver to you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Actually, though it is very brief speech, but very difficult to follow your advice. You said it should start from within,
Yes.
with the self,
Yes.
and it should happen lifelong. These two words, if
Momentary, not momentary.
these two words, if everyone follows, there is no need for any vigilance department or any ED or CBI. So though it is brief, to the point. Thank you very much. Now I request Professor Diwakar Tiwari ji, and he's a good friend of everyone, being IQAC director. That is one thing, that is positive side. But there is a negative side. He knows about every department, every section, every wing in the campus, and its strengths as well as its limitations. Because evidence-based data he has. So I feel he's the right man. Yes, he is the right man, to offer suggestions for us on this occasion.
Good afternoon, Shibai, to all of you. Honorable Vice-Chancellor, sir, Professor Dibakar Chandra Deka, the Chairman, and the Honorable Chief Guest, Shri or Professor Benjamina, sir, and Professor Laltluangliana Khiangte, our beloved Registrar, Professor Nundanga, and Deans, statutory officers, non-teaching and teachers. It's my privilege to stand here in front of you and to speak few words. I am thankful to the Chairman, Professor Jyoti Kumar, when he mentioned that you have to speak on this, related to the vigilance, our shared responsibility. Immediately I mentioned that how come I am related to this, it is better if you call somebody else That will be good. Then he said, no, you have to, I will not mention what he mentioned. So I'll say that. Then he said, no, since you are associated with the IQAC, better to speak about that. First of all, I would like to mention that I started my career in Mizoram University when Professor Benjamina or Shri Benjamina, he was as the registrar. So early of the 2007, I joined this Mizoram University, and that time such a dynamic registrar, he was our registrar. And I would like to mention that 2007 and 2025, there is no difference. As far as the dynamism is required there, or as far as the his health condition is there. So we pray and we wish that hope it will continue, and you will serve more for the Mizoram University, not only for the Mizoram University, for the state, not only for the state, for the nation also, for the better perspective, and which we are looking forward, that is the Viksit Bharat, which Professor Jyoti Kumar, he mentioned that by 2047. So I hope that by 2047 you will be similar like today you are. So anyway, this is the one thing that I would like to start one thing. When maybe around 20-25 years back, I went to the RTO office for my certain things, maybe my license or something, driving license and all. So one guy was there, maybe the clerk, and he was associated with some spiritual group. So through that spiritual group, I went there because I heard that it is not easy to get the things there done. So through that spiritual group, I went there, and through them with the recommendation or something. And then he did my work, and it was done very smoothly. But at the end, what he said, that was very, still I remember. He said that since you people are in the educational system, we are working in this system. These two systems are entirely different systems, and keeping yourself safe and clean in educational system, it is easy. For us, keeping us clean in this system, it is not that easy. That is still it stick to me, and still I feel that what is the meaning of that. And when slowly I started in the academics my career, and many things I have observed, many things we have seen, and we have also suffered. I will say that as an IQAC director also, we have suffered for our accreditation because of all these things which is happening in the educational system. Outside people, they feel that the educational system is one of the cleanest system in which the corruption is not there. But I feel that it is not true. There are the many things going on, sir. I would like to mention that at the global level also, if you try to see, things are changing very, very fast. And since I'm associated with the IQAC, I'm associated, as sir has mentioned, with all the sections of the Mizoram University. I know in a better way also. Not a best way, but a little bit I know about the different sections now. Sir, globally, what is happening? Globally, if you try to see that the rankings or the accreditation system, it is going on, and if I try to see that the ranking of the, through that the students, they are attracted for the higher studies and all, say the D ranking or the QS ranking, in which the truth is that the Indian scenario, our performance is very bad. Our NIRF ranking also, if you try to see, or our accreditation system through the NAC, that also we have seen it. There are the publications, and if you try to see that the criterion by which they used to rank the institutions, the major component is lying about the research. Research and development, almost more than 70% is that component is included. And that component, it starts from the Scopus or Web of Science. Your publications which are in the Scopus, which are in the Web of Science, how many times cited, how things are going on through that. The ISI, which has introduced the Thomson neuters, which we call it, or Clarivate, we call it, That is the impact factor. These things are coming. So through that, the major, ranking is involved. And for publications, these days, things are changing now. Where it is going? For public, they have started. Of course, there are the systems. I have delivered another lecture sometimes back. There are the regulatory bodies for the open access and all. The developed countries, teachers are allowed to pay for that. For a single paper in a good journal, more than $4,500 they have to pay. Just imagine that your scholarly work need to be published, you want to publish, for that you have to pay 4,500. How it is correct in this scenario? In the country like India or the developing countries or underdeveloped countries, how they could manage. It is not, I'm not saying that it is the only way of publication. There is a way by the subscription also we can publish. But how many? How many we can publish? The developed countries, they have enough fund, they have allocated the fund, and that is being used for the publications as an open access. There are if you try to see, there is a regulatory body that is called as DOAJ. Through that, the open access journals are regulated. But how they are regulating? How it is regulated? This is a big questions that need to be discussed, that need to be in this panel discussion. Also, if they will be interested, that can be addressed. This is the one component at the global scenario. I would like to mention that. Second thing, which they have given me 10 minutes, sir. You please let me know.
No, is it 3 minutes you can take?
Okay. Our educational system, National Education Policy, NEP 2020 we used to talk about. And prior to that, there was the National Policy on Education. I want to, which Professor Shri Benjamina also he mentioned, or Puvena he mentioned that.
The last speaker has some advantage.
I would like to mention here, there are the 3 terms involved in perspective of the Indian educational system, which is the 3rd largest after the US or the China, and almost 50,000 higher education institutions are there, and we are also having the different targets, for example, the GR and all that. So we have the 3 terms which were involved there, that is the equitable education, access to everyone, the education, and the quality of the education. This was the National Policy of the Education 1984, and in the the National Education Policies, 2 terms added, that is called as the accountability and affordability of the education. In addition to that, lifelong learning and all that, SDG, all that, it is different thing, and synchronization of the education with the skill component, because our skill component is somewhere around 4 to 5%. If you compare to the South Korea, it is around 97%. This is the Government of India data. And if you try to see that the US and all, 50 to 60%, they have synchronized their the curricula with the skill component. These are the 5 things. Out of that, the equitable and accessible. Equitable and accessible, these are the 2 terms which we have to understand in a proper way. When we think about the university system, we have to have our own plan. And our own plan for the sustainable development or the sustainable growth of the university, there should be some plan for that. And there are the 8 components of the sustainable development or the growth of the university. And those 8 components, I will not detail all those components, but which is very pertinent, which I would like to share. The one is that the physical infrastructure of the university or the educational system or the HEI. The second component, which is the digital infrastructure, what the digital infrastructure that we are having because of this, the change scenario. The third is that the academic infrastructure, what the curricula that we will be having, how we are updating the curricula, how we are globally competitive, the curricula that we are developing. The fourth, the next one is that how we are promoting the R&D and the IPR activities or innovations. These are the activities which we need to address in a proper way, or a proper ecosystem has to be created through that. The R&D activity or the IPR activity or intellectual property right activities has to be protected and all that. Supportive and facilitative infrastructure, which Bhuvena, he also mentioned that how the non-teaching also can support, or the other supporting things, how we can introduce there. The next is the networking and collaborations. If really we want the university should grow in a proper way, in a proper direction, then we have to think that how we can best network with the different institutions, the different collaborations and MOU and all that. And the governance infrastructure, the governing bodies, how they are functioning, as he also mentioned that, the, say for example, the executive council is there, academic council is there, or the, other accounts related things are there, the finance committee is there, all those things are there. Finally, that is the financial infrastructure that has to be introduced there. So financial, when we talk about the financial infrastructure, which is much relevant to our today's topic, that is the vigilance, our shared responsibility. Who are the stakeholders? How we can make the financial infrastructure or the sustainability in the institutions. These days, this is too much coming that the financial infrastructure or the financial sustainability, when we talk about that, how to generate the fund. And lot of pressure on the educational institutions are there that how do they generate the fund. For the generation of the fund, lot of things are going on that. I will not mention many things, but few things I can just mention that the different things have been started. Say, for example, one of the things, please do not correlate with our university. What I'm talking about, it is a general perspective that one of that, the PhDs is there, is going on, and many things are going on. Second thing is that the ODL program, open distance learning, whether it is correct or wrong, what way it is introduced, what is the guidance of that. Third thing is that many pseudo universities, I will say pseudo because sometimes they are not allowed of starting the program or starting the as a university to function that. It is also started and things are happening. Many students, ultimately who is the sufferer? Sufferers are the students. Third thing is that in academic institutions, we have seen that many times we have observed that the programs are started without the proper or the approval taken by the bodies, the recommending bodies are there. Without that, we have started, the universities has started the program. The intent is that how to generate the fund. There are the ways by which we can generate the fund, generation of fund. Another thing is that is the fee structure. I'm again saying that nothing it is related to the Mizoram University. The fee structure arbitrarily being increased without any discussion with the stakeholders, because we have to see that what is our motto. Motto is different. Motto is that the equitable and accessible education. Is there any a proper discussion through that? If it has been introduced, then of course, yes, it is okay. Otherwise, we have to see that what way the fee structure can be maintained within the department, within the university and all that. So this is the few things that is related with the financial infrastructure or the sustainability of the financial resources that has to be, properly with the stakeholders can be handled through that. So these are the few things that I wanted to tell. And one more thing that sometimes, whether I may be wrong also, but the two terms we use are very often, because I am also sufferer of that. One term is that the gift, and another term is that the tip. Gift and tip, it looks very nice. That is, in Hindi we used to say that the ubhar, in Urdu we say that the bakshish. Is it correct? Sometimes what is happening that we have also seen that give some tip, you will get this. One way we feel that tip is okay when we are going that, but sometimes it has been very much misused, and it has been, and giving the gift for a personal interest, that is dangerous. If for the personal interest, if the gift or the tips are given, that is dangerous. And we have seen that openly being asked, suppose somewhere that you want certain projects or something, the bigger projects, they are, we are listening that the tips should be given. So these are the few things which I wanted to share. And as Sir has also mentioned that we have achieved our A+ grade through the accreditation process, which were a lot of questions came before our accreditation also, and we faced certain problems also. And because of that, it was delayed also almost maybe 4 or 5 months or 6 months, more than 6 months. I would like to, as an IQAC director, I would like to mention that whatever we have accredited, it is, sir, it is lesser than what we got it. We deserve more than 3.3 because this is the government organization, or this is the central university. What happens? It is unlike to the private universities. What happens? The activities is being done before that. Okay, they are trying to see that what the activity required for this particular, the criterion, and then they are accordingly they are conducting activity and recording it. So recording is before that the activity is conducted. Our system is something that activity is done, but many times not recorded. Many times not recorded. When we collected the data for the last 5 years, so many activities, initially the department said that this is done, but the document was not there. So because of that, I will say that we could not get the exact what the grade we have to get, or what the points we should get, but this is whatever we are getting, it is the true or what the exact or the correct data that we have submitted. Based on that, we have been accredited, and I am proud of that to say that there was no malpractice in our accreditation process, although the NAC itself is now in question. So that is why every day I will say that very often they are changing the accreditation process also. Even in the NIRF ranking also, lot of changes they are making based on these certain. NIRF is a different thing in which lot of malpractices are going on. But whatever we are having, based on that, it has been accredited. What the legacy that you left with us, we try to follow. And with these few words, I would like to conclude. I hope that I have finished within the stipulated time. Thank you, sir. Thank you giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. High quality, inputs we got from you, and you touched upon rightly about the importance of access and equity and inclusiveness of education. Thank you so much, and without taking much time, now I request the speakers from MIZUTA, MUNTSA, and our student council. First, it is from MIZUTA.
Good afternoon. The Vice-Chancellor of Mizoram University and our esteemed keynote speaker today, Mr. Benjamin, and teachers and non-teaching staffs and friends. It is a pleasure for me to stand today at this Vigilance Awareness Week. I think this is the first time I'm standing here like this, but since the past 2-3 years, during Vigilance Week, we used to go to various parts of localities in Aizawl, and I have already delivered speech in 2 localities during Vigilance Awareness Week in the past years. But those are for the local people. But between ourselves and between the the stakeholders of the university as well as a central institution, what do Vigilance Awareness Week means for us? And in Mizoram, we are very prone to saying, looking at the etymology of the words. So the etymology of the word vigilance comes from the word vigilare, which is Latin, which means to keep awake. So that means that we have to be in a state of being keenly watchful and awake. And as we live in India, India is a land of thinkers. So because of that, we used to have lofty ideas. Looking at our own Indian constitution, which is one of the lengthiest constitution of the world, and looking at our preambles, we have various kind of philosophical ideas which we have to look up to. But whether these philosophical ideas are being kept up in the practical realm, that is, I think, what we have to look up today, and that is what the Vigilance Week, from its initial inception, have to have a new meaning which we have to look at today. And at India's level, we have seen many different kind of issues which led to this kind of having even a central vigilance officer at the national level. And the speaker just before me, Professor Diwakar, has talked about Baksis. While I was studying in Delhi, we used to hear about not only Baksis. Baksis is a bit of somewhat have a positive connotation. But beyond Baksis, there are two words, even which as student we hear many times when dealing with government official. The lower one is chai pani. So every time we go to some government office, from the peon, they'll ask, Bhaiya, thora chai pani de do, from the peon. Then we go up, from chai pani, from a simple cup of tea, it goes up to the level of hafta. And when hafta comes, usually students, we do not have the capacity to handle the hafta because that is a bigger sphere. So that is how India, we are looking at this kind of social issue. So that is why I think today we have to look at not only at the ideals, but how do we practically deal with this kind of vigilance. If we look at the Central Vigilance Office, let's say website or other things, we find that vigilance has usually two components. That is, one is punitive measure and one is the preventive measure. And today, I think what we have to concentrate is the preventive measure. Because when it comes to the punitive measure, it already goes into the realm of the negative side or creating to a kind of negative atmosphere in the work environment. And looking at our daily life itself, what do we have to do? Coming from a social academic, background myself, I think that we have to talk about praxis. Not only lofty ideals, something that we read in the text, something we do a pledge, but something which we never do about in our daily life. So what are the kind of vigilance that which we have to look at? Like, for example, not only corruption, but also other wrong practices which we have to look at. Like, for example, nowadays we have so many kind of internet fraud. Every year, I think there are some letters coming out from our Vice-Chancellor email asking for donation of money, which the Vice-Chancellor don't do. But these are also coming into the realm of a modern kind of vigilance which we have to look at. Banking fraud, identity theft, and not only that, what are the other kind of vigilance? Public amenities. Many a times we used to say that this is not part of my duty. Let the government do it or let the concerned authorities do it. But that is also our personal vigilance. Like, for example, if the road is not, being constructed properly, do we just say that the road is not constructed properly? Do we say that it is the duty of the Public Work Department? Or are we vigilant and say that it is my duty, fundamental duty as a citizen to complain to the authorities or to talk to the various persons who are ruining the road, like, let's say, constructing something on the road, saying that this is our collective property. So I think that we have to transcend the idea of thinking only about corruption in the, among government servants, but also about vigilance in our dealing with public amenities in our everyday life. That is, I think, another thing. And our chairman have said that 10 minutes, but I'll not keep with that time. But I just want to conclude saying that there is a very famous verse in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, when Abel was killed by Cain, God asked Cain, "Where is your brother?" And Cain famously said that am I my brother's keeper? So that means that Cain has relegated the duty of himself, saying that I am not my brother's keeper. But nowadays, in the present century, in the 21st century, when we talk about Vigilance Awareness Week and looking at our theme today, that is vigilance, our shared responsibility. It is not like us to say like Cain, am I my brother's keeper? We are our brothers and sister keeper, as well as we are the keeper of public facility. We are the keeper of public things, which as a citizen of India, we are supposed to do. So that means that it is not only our personal issue, but also when we look at things like this, as a vigilant citizen, we are looking not only our own welfare, but also the welfare of the nation. So if all citizens, we can come together and say that it is none of my concern too, it is my concern, I think that we can really look at the issue of our theme today, that all public affairs are our self-responsibility, not just the responsibility of the person whom it is entrusted. So that means that in these kind of things, our lofty ideals that which the framer of our Indian constitution have talked about will not be a thought, but rather a praxis, something which we can take into action. So I think that when we look at this theme, to conclude, I feel that when we talk about vigilance, it is not about being vigilant for yourself. It is not being vigilant for only something that is within your immediate realm of operation, but rather something which is within the realm of everyone, so that the nation building as well as the vigilance for the development of the nation can come into play. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is from General Secretary of MIZUTA, Dr. Zara. Thank you very much. Now I request someone from MUNTSA, Non-Teaching Association. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, our respected chief guest, VC, Registrar, Deans, HOD, and my dear colleagues. Before I begin my speech, I would like to say that today I stand here in place of our General Secretary, who has a sudden emergency engagement elsewhere. So I don't have much time to prepare for this theme. I jot down few lines so that I do not forget, then I come here. And that's why I cannot come with proper dress also today. My sincere apology for that.
You are looking good. You are looking good.
I don't have time to fix my hair also. As we all know, before me, many speakers have spoken and highlighted various aspects relating to workplace ethics, importance of integrity, general principle of financial propriety, regarding corruption, and many more. Today, as you know, I am representative of MUNTSA, and also in my capacity as an administrative officer, I would like to share a few words. I would be very, very brief, but my word will be a little brief and solid. That would be from administrative angle, administrative perspective, regarding the importance of upholding integrity, accountability, devotion to duty, and punctuality also. When I am saying that it is from administrative angle, but it is very much pertinent to all of us, because we are all government servants. First, I would like to start with fundamental rules. It is central government fundamental rules. In Fundamental Rules 11, it says the whole time of a government servant is at the disposal of the government, who hire him and pays him. He may be employed in any manner required by the government. Many of us may not be aware of these rules. I see so many central government, not only in this university, elsewhere also, behaving and roaming like they are not even a government servant. even during holidays and even working days also. Some of them found participating in some politically motivated event also. So we should remember that the whole time of a government servant is at the disposal of the government. That's why many a times I see even non-teaching staff here and elsewhere also behaving like they are not government servant, behaving like their whole time are not owned by central government, refusing to work overtime, refusing to be called back to office during non-office working hours, showing any form of disobedience like that. So this rule is very crucial and it is very fundamental for central government service. Our approach to government service should be rooted in this principle. It is very easy to view our respective office and employment as a mere salary giver. So let us remind ourselves of this principle and recommit to our work and duties with renewed dedication and purpose. Now going to another central government rules, that is Central Civil Service Conduct Rules 1964. Rule number 3 says, not only says, it orders that every government servant shall at all times maintain absolute integrity, maintain devotion to duty, and do nothing which is unbecoming of a government servant. So this rule set the tone for the government servant professional and personal conduct. This means being honest, transparent, and ethical in all action and decision. No corruption, no bribery, no compromise on moral principle. So, the points are clear. This is CCS conduct rules, rule 3, 1 to 3. These are very crucial for central government. We should remember that. Then you may think that is a very trivial matter. Next, I would like to point out regarding CCS leave rules, 1972 rule 7.1. This is also very important for all of us. It says that leave cannot be claimed as a matter of right. It is very important instruction by the central government. And so I would like to request so many instances, many of my friends also here and outside also, they are saying that there are a number of days leave balance available in my account. It is more than 300. It is surplus. So even though there is no real necessity, they are tempted to apply for leave. So this is a thing which a government servant should not do. It cannot be claimed as a matter of right. You should remember that. So next, I would like to point out about punctuality, importance of punctuality. Punctuality, it is very important for central government as it may reflect our professionalism, respect for others' time, and commitment to duties. We are all knowing that our office timing is 9 to 5. So we should respect office timing. All of us should give priority to punctuality for any event, not only for office timing, for other important meeting also. We should give priority to punctuality in everything. Next, briefly, as we are Central University, we are bound by our own act, statute, ordinance, and regulations. So it is very important all of us to remain vigilant to ensure 100% compliance of all these important rules. Let us remember that. I want to make appeal to every member of Mizoram University community to spare enough time to read, to go through these important rules, to be well versed with the rules. Even in our statute itself, it safeguards all the provisions of Act, statute, and ordinance, saying that the Vice-Chancellor has been entrusted to ensure that all these rules are duly observed. So these are very important. I will not take long time, but now I have talked about a few important issues. Like I said before, some of us may think that these are very irrelevant in this occasion. These are minor issues to be raised in this kind of vigilance awareness campaign, awareness week. But please remember, the Bible says, if you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones. If you are not honest with little things, you won't be honest with large responsibility. Let us remember that. So, these are my points, but lastly, I want to add one more point, because I feel this is very relevant for all of us, particularly in this kind of program, regarding fundamental principle of natural justice. That is, no man should be condemned unheard. If I remember correct, in the past, this same Central Vigilance Commission had already adopted this principle as their theme in the past, if I remember correct. That is, no body should be condemned without being properly heard. This is very important for all of us, particularly for those in higher authorities. That is, to listen to both sides of a story, to often listen to both sides of a story before making a decision, and not to condemn anyone without giving them fair chance to be heard or to explain themselves. You know, in a large organization like Mizoram University with more than 700 employees, issues and argument, conflict of ideas arises in some corners. Many times, we all know. So, in such situation, some individuals have better access to higher authority than others. In such situation, those people do not hesitate to report half-truth and biased information to the authority. Not only this day, I am not talking about that. In the past also. When such issue and conflict of ideas, argument happen, many people have better access to authority. But in such situation, if authority make hasty decision and judgment, it is not good. So authority also, in such situation, it is very important for them to remain vigilant and not to make hasty decision. Instead, they should uphold the principle of this one. No man should be condemned unheard without giving him or her sufficient time to explain herself. This is very important. With these very few words, once again, thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Kshatriya. Very honest submission, presentation you have given. Though they seem to be very small and well-known points, and they are very relevant, and every one of us have to follow those things. And it is really surprising that you said you didn't prepare for it. Okay, thank you. And now, finally, anyone from Student Council? Student Council, it seems there is no one. Research scholar or no one. Then before I invite our Honorable Vice-Chancellor to speak up, if any members want to say a few words, because it is a panel discussion, I need 2 or 3 members. If they want to say something very briefly, you are welcome. Okay. So thank you. Now I request our Honorable Vice-Chancellor to give his message.
I prefer to speak least. Okay, anyway, thank you very much. So I don't have to look at the watch since there is no time limit. Okay, namaskar and Shivai to all of you. And Honorable Chairperson, Professor Jyoti Kumar, our chief guest, Mr. Benjamina, all my esteemed colleagues, officers present here. First of all, my thanks goes to the chairperson. He is the Chief Vigilance Officer of Mizoram University, and his other members of the committee for organizing this. I think, as I have heard, this type of discussion was not held earlier, maybe first time. At least last 2 years it was not held. This because vigilance awareness is every year comes.
Yes.
So I have seen. So it is a nice practice. One thing, when I stand before somebody to speak, whether it is a class or any other meeting, first thing comes to my mind: whom am I speaking? Okay, I have to understand my audience, whom I am going to speak, and next, what I am going to speak. Okay, so this too is very important. When anybody stand before, you have to judge the audience. Then only you should speak. So that is comes to my mind. Class, whether they are science students or art students, whatever. So with this background, you can understand very easily. Today I am speaking to highly educated officers or professors. Okay, all are officers, I understand here. And I think most of them are postgraduate, at least not have a graduate degree. At least graduation level is there, all are officers. So this is the quality of my audience today. I have to keep that in mind. On the top of that, 2 days back, we all together, we all officers, professors, have started the Vigilance Awareness Week on 27, which taking place or place taking that we celebrated on 27. In the place taking, we clearly shouted, we will follow probity and rule of the law in all walks of life. We have promised. Then we have promised we neither take bribe or offer bribe. We remember only 2 days back, right? We have promised to perform all tasks in an honest and transparent manner. We all of us has a responsibility. So we have promised that we will be doing in an honest and transparent manner. Then we will act always in public interest. That we have promised. And fifth one, to lead an example exhibiting integrity in personal behavior, right? And the last one, to report any incident of corruption to appropriate authority. What else we need more than that? Okay, what I need to talk about? I think we all do very well understand this place by every letter and word. And we are highly educated, and we have taken a public place that will follow that. So I think I don't have to add anything more. If we all together follow all these places by letter and spirit, I think by 2047, forget about the past, Mizoram University will be tremendously contributing to the societal development and will certainly, if the whole country follow this, because this awareness is going across the country, and then certainly nobody can stop us to achieve what our Prime Minister dreamed for, develop Viksit Bharat by 2047. Nobody can stop us. So I'm not going to talk much about that, only little bit adding, so I will not take much time, though I have the liberty to take time. I will not take that. Not necessary, that's why. Our audience are learned and words are very well understood. And only thing I must certainly I appreciate the speech given by our honorable chief guest, Mr. Benjamina. Yes, almost everything what may happen. So corruption may happen in finance, corruption may happen in recruitment, corruption may happen in infrastructure development, corruption may happen in research, all these things. And our chief guest has covered almost everything. And to that it has added by our IQAC Director Tiwari, then Mr. Professor Dr. Zara, MUNTSA, MIZUTA Secretary, and also MUNTSA Secretary. He has also added certain clauses of the rules and regulation. So I think everything in panel discussion need to be covered has been done. Only a few things, from my experience I am sharing, how can corruption happen during our infrastructure development, recruitment, finance, all these things. So we need to be very vigilant, everyone. That I am just sharing my one or two experience only. First thing I will say, it is a vigilance awareness we are celebrating. Vigilance, our shared responsibility. 100% I trust all of you that you do understand this our shared responsibility. Nothing to explain that. Now, when we talk about shared responsibility, quite often we say there should be a CCTV, there should be a CCTV. Even in my office, there is a CCTV. Nowadays needed for many reasons. But what CCTV can do more than what we all together can do. In Mizoram University, we are more than nearly 5,000. If I count, including students, is nearly 3,500 or 4,000. Then another maybe 1,000, 1,500, our teachers and non-teaching staff together maybe 1,000. So altogether we can be nearly 5,000. Each of us have two eyes. And all the time, if we honestly become vigilant, use our eyes, we have more than 10,000 CCTVs. Why we need to spend money on mechanical things like CCTV? What can they do? But still we need it. That is a different aspect. What my thing is that our CCTVs, how many will attach here, fix here. But if we are all promised to be vigilant, we can do much more bigger than better vigilance than our mechanical, electrical CCTVs. Is not it? So I hope you will be agree with that. Everything, everywhere, we need to be vigilant. So many people living in the campus itself, if not 5,000, at least 3,000 students, 2,000, and we teachers, non-teaching staff, at least 500 we live in the campus. If this much people during off time, we are vigilant, certainly everything we can see here, right? This is the thing. So one more example like infrastructure, all these things. Earlier also I have said why everybody need to be vigilant. From my personal experience, I am citing here. Earlier also in one occasion I have said, last week we had a meeting on wardens. There also I said, but you were not present. I want to share with that. And this experience is not here, MZU. This experience was in my previous university, state university, where I was the founder, Vice-Chancellor of the university. And many other occasions, in Guwahati University, I was professor long time, teacher long time, so there also I observe. What happened? Just I am giving hints only. So for example, when my personal chamber or my department, some work is given to somebody, suppose electrical wiring, okay, electrical wiring. Okay, registrar office has done tender or finance department has tender all these things, given contract to some contractor, then contractor going and doing the job, and that is supposed to be supervised by engineering cell or engineering office. That is normal practice. Apart from that, though it is as a teacher, I have no responsibility, I am not bound to observe the work done by the engineer. I can see it. I can be vigilant. What kind of vigilant? One example. Suppose always we know that when electrical wiring, all these things, normally prescribed qualities copper wires. But in the market, there are 2-3 types of different quality electrical wiring. And most of them is aluminum, which is much, much cheaper than copper. So if all of us in the department, 5, 10, 7 teachers, they are vigilant, at least when they are doing the wiring, you can see the wire. What is it is copper or electrical? What is wrong there? If really I have the interest for the development of the department, it is not necessary registrar or finance officer or PC will go see that. Any of you can see that. If it is not copper, aluminum, question the electrical engineering cell. Did you approve copper electrical wire or copper wire? That simple observation that can be easily seen by looking at the electrical wire. That will solve many problems, because later when job is completed, certificate is obtained from the head of the department, job is done, bill is paid by the finance officer, approved by VC, thing is done. And later after 5-10 years, and you cannot punish anybody, bill is paid, finished, and you cannot even, and you doing inquiry, all these things, useless job, lot of spending money, time, energy, this type of thing. So this is one, what I feel very easy. And whether your department tells so many infrastructure is going on in Mizoram, in that context also I am telling, you can be vigilant. See whether your earthing is done or not. You may not be a technical person, but simple idea you have. Even if I don't have a simple idea about what is earthing, but if I look at the work, give 5 minutes, 10 minutes to the engineers, contractor, what they are doing, I can learn something from there. Is not it? So that is vigilance for the whole interest of the university. It is not necessary that all the time internal audit officer will visit all the sites. Okay, we also can help. Another serious problem I observed, this is exactly same thing. In my earlier university, 2 things happened. That it was I said I am founder Vice-Chancellor. Work is going on. I am not supposed to do anything. There is a job is given to the PWD, Assam government. Job is done by them. They are supposed to visit. I have nothing to do, but still I used to visit. Another example happened. I am telling you frankly, as a VC, I saw it. On about 200 meter, 100 meter, job was given contract to a contractor, which was underground cable laying. For say underlying, instead of overhead wiring, underground cable laying. Okay. So about 100-200 meters. On the morning I came to office, they started the job. By the lunchtime I came back, job is finished. So quickly. I thought that they started, they will do properly. I have little idea also, because these things, curiosity I have always, I see that. And then I did not believe that they have done the job properly. So when they were finishing the job, I came from lunch time, came to office again. It was near in the campus. I asked the who is the super doing this job. One person was standing. I told who is the here contractor. He said, I'm sir, I'm doing. Can you give me the estimate? I think he gave me a copy, or I asked the registrar give me a copy of the estimate. I want to see what is this. Estimate is everywhere there. Engineering cell, registrar is supposed to have a copy of the estimate. When I took the estimate, I saw that it is written there, you have to dig, means the groove you are laying, the cable laying, that should be 75 centimeter deep. It is written very clearly. That means 2.5 feet deep, wide about 8 inch or 12 inch wide. And in that the bottom there should be something like sand layer, and above that there should be a sand layer, and there that should be a brick layer, and on the over the brick there should be a cable, and then finally you fill up with earth filling. That's the job. Just see, morning they started at 8 o'clock and finished by 1 o'clock, everything. So I told him questionally, this is your estimate, where is everything written? I don't see any piece of brick here. I don't see any sand here. How did you complete this job? You are stubborn. He lost his all. He cannot, could not. How can he reply? I have seen there is no piece of brick, nothing is there. I simply said you, I am not going to pay a single paisa against. I am not paying authority is the PWD, but I don't approve this. I will not allow to pay you. Next the morning, the contractor came up with a JCB. This job, which was finished with 2 or 4 or 5 laborers, they came with a JCB, and they took with the JCB, they dug the soil, all these things, because 2.5 feet deep. Human, if you use laborer, it will cost more than using a JCB. So this kind of, if this kind of vigilance, as a VC, I was not supposed to see that. But yes, I want the job should be done properly. And I could have, they finished the job, I could have signed it. The contractor would have given some commission to the PWD chief executive engineer. Certainly, they know it, how they have done. They will get some commission. They will not check how it is did. PC or register has certified. That's okay for me to pay the bill. So job is done like that. One more example I will give you. What happened when you build these pillars, the columns are built, you know how it is done. We should be very vigilant. Columns, pedestal, below the surface, the basement of the pillar column, that is very important. Lot of scope is there to sit there. How much wide netting is there, overall netting, rods are done, then cement is cementing is done, all these things you know. We should see sometimes when engineer or the masons are doing all this job. Very important. Now, where is the scope there? See, if we completely 100% trust with engineers or others, there is a very wide scope to sit us. They can have sharing of commission, all these things. What is there? If suppose the basement should be 5 by 5 feet, they will make 4 by 4 feet. Because there is always tolerance, margin is there. Building will not collapse very soon. Instead of say limitation, if he see even, so always when these designs are done, little more is given. Say 5 feet is design given. They can do to save the rod, etc. Still, they will make by 4 by 4. Lot of things can be saved. And then suppose steel rods should be 16 mm. What they will do? They will give 12 mm. it is quite possible, if not all, maybe out of the 3 lakh 444 and how many 12 rods are needed, maybe 10 piece they will give 16 mm, 2 piece they will give 12 mm. Nothing will happen, building will be completed, and there is a lot of money you can save. Another point, I have experienced myself in my own house building. I had a contract with I gave contractor. When my small house in Guwahati, I did not have time, I gave to contractor. That is my private money, personal money. I stayed in somewhere 350 kilometers away from home. I allowed him, you please make me a house, because if I retire from Guwahati, I need a place to stay. So, okay, I trusted him. What happened one day, I came, I saw, because of this, my contractor with him was that all steel must be Tata made. It must be Tata. I will give price. Whatever money is there, I will give her. It is my personal money. Tata, not no other make steel company. And one day I came home, I was looking around the construction, and one pillar I saw out of the 12 or 10 rods, 2 pieces was not Tata. Because in the body of the steel it is clearly written Tata, whatever made. He cannot hide that before cement filling is done. You have to do that. If cement is done, then you cannot break and see it. I was examining one by one rod. I saw all other Tata 2 pieces different. And what is the price difference? Per quintal price difference was about 1500. And one rod itself you will pay 1 quintal like that, 100 kg. So you think about, that is the situation of trusting people here. It is my personal money, it is my personal house. What will happen if it is public? Government building, university, there will be sitting will be more. Okay, it was personal. Normally in private, personal sitting is not that much. But he did that. Then I immediately fired him. You don't have to talk about whatever completed, leave it. I don't trust anymore. Because building was that much only beginning, little bit. Okay. So I engage somebody else like that. So this kind of harassment things we get. Okay. So we have to be vigilant everywhere. It is not that. And that kind of vigilance is more important in public thing. So in our place, that's why I'm telling, all our eyes would we use, whether it is duty, your duty or not. If you really love your university, if you really want to give service to your society, I have to be vigilant. I have to be vigilant every time. If we collectively want to make anything nice, we have to be a collective response. That's why it is vigilance or shared response. Nobody alone can make it good. We collectively only can make it good. And mainly, even as I have said, in my even our private property, we are being seated and think about the public property. That is the thing. Okay. So this kind of things, many examples from our experience. Our young teachers may not have that much of experience, but our chief guest has nicely said his experience. Maybe we'll hear him another day, much more, because he has a lot of experience throughout his life, responsibility. So it's need to be heard, okay? And you younger people can learn from our experience. We also can learn from younger, no doubt. That's why this is panel discussion. Now, okay, this kind of, as our chief guest has already said, every year we are celebrating vigilance. Every year, and we will be celebrating for years to come, probably. Government has given some guidelines, UGC has given us guidelines. We are celebrating here, nice picture, and then send to upload in the portal. Done. Is that enough? Is the end of the, that is what we want? That has to, please ask yourself, is that what we want? If that what we want, nice picture upload in the portal, and we get a good certificate from the Department of Higher Education, UGC or ministry, then it's fine. If we don't, it is not the end of the job, our job, then we have to be little more. So it is more than that. We don't end up panel discussion, lecture, then end up with a good photograph. I think for me it is not the end. Whether I am here or there does not matter. It is not the end for me. Much more than that. Whether that what is important, we have celebrated, we have talked about, it is a shared responsibility. Whether on ground, in reality, implementation part, whether we have really doing that or not. Okay, so that has to be seen and assessed. Only with one example, one more thing I am telling, that many other things are there, but I will not go for that. And only one context I am giving. There are so many things, addicting things in the society. Our chief guest also has mentioned like addiction to substances, narcotics, all this mentioned.
Drug-free campus.
That is a serious problem, not only in Mizoram or Mizoram University, that is a serious problem everywhere. Across the Punjab, the thing was the narcotics uses, as per report, is Punjab is the highest, like that. So, forget, we don't have to compare ourselves with others. What we want that our state, Mizoram or Mizoram University, should be narcotics free. Is not it? It should be narcotics. That's what we want, right? Forget about how much others we are using less than others. That is not the real thing we want. Here it should be zero, right? That is. So as always, all of you believe prevention is better than cure, and Zara have mentioned here the preventive measures better than curative measures. Okay, and all of you know that. I know it. All of you, no doubt about that. Also, I will not go to heroin, all these things. Only one thing that what I mentioned is that addiction. Only one sentence I'll say. There are so many addiction. Addiction to alcohol, addiction to tobacco, addiction to drugs, so-called we normally drugs in common man center is the heroin, brown sugar, all these things. Okay. So addiction to drugs means heroin, brown sugar, all these things. Addiction to tobacco, addiction to alcohol. And worst thing is that above all these things, worst and most dangerous thing is that addiction to money. I will say that addiction to money is the most dangerous thing, what we call normally corruption. Addiction to money is the most dangerous thing in the present day society. Addiction to money. What is addiction to money? I am stealing money. I have a need. That is different thing. That is not addiction. I am under compulsion. I am unable to feed my babies, so I am stealing from somebody for my baby. That can be excused. But I am a retired officer. I am a retired police officer. I have made lot of money in my lifetime. My children are grown up. I have a house to live. I have enough money to eat. Still, given a chance, I will take bribe to make more money. That is addiction. Say one example, our chief guest or all of you may have heard. 4 or 5 years back, just one example. There are plenty of examples like I can cite. In newspaper, TV is always coming. That was one DGP, one officer, DGP he was. He retired as a DGP, police officer. He retired. A government out of trust given him a responsibility to conduct an examination for recruitment in the police department. Assam government, fact received. Finally came out that during that conduction of examination, he did a lot of corruption. Later he was arrested, put to jail also. He might have thought that nobody is looking at me, but anyway, maybe you may be lucky 99 times. 100th time you may not be lucky, you will be caught. Now that what I am citing here is that retired police officer had no need of money. He does not eat, he has good pension, he can have his children grown up, he has a house, everything he has. Why he tried to get more money at the 65 plus or 60 plus years? Why he tried to get more money through bribe? It is addiction. His habit is that maybe during his whole life, he has taken a lot of bribe. He has developed a character or behavior that he, like if you every day take alcohol, small amount for a pleasure, one day it will be converted to addiction so that you cannot come out of alcohol. You have to take it. That is addiction. So that person might be, because police officer during his lifetime, he must have taken a lot of bribe, and during that period he developed addiction to money. Whether he need money, he don't need money, he will take money. So I believe addiction to money is very dangerous. Addiction to alcohol, addiction to drug will kill me. If I cannot come out of the hook, it will kill me. But addiction to money will kill the society, kill an institution. That's why I always feel addiction to money, so addiction to money is the most dangerous out of any kind of addiction. Addiction to drug, addiction to tobacco, addiction to alcohol, whatever you can see. Addiction to music, addiction to this thing, everything can be addictive if used for over a time, long time. So that is one thing I have added to our chief guest talk, that is that corruption he mentioned, and all of you know. So addiction, please don't develop, don't try to avoid addiction to money. It's very dangerous. It will spoil the society, not only your family, personal, everything. So I don't have to explain that. And finally, I will end with only one aspect, one or two lines. On the ground reality, how much we are vigilant, we are all officers. Please excuse me, I am coming really a scenario in Mizoram University. That is real. So far I am speaking outside Mizoram. Now I am speaking about Mizoram. It is a UGC policy, government policy, that Mizoram University campus should be tobacco free. We have a lot of banners around, posters, signboards, that tobacco causes cancer. Yes, 70% of the cancers in the society is due to tobacco consumption. Another 30% may be some other reason, whatever may be. Whether tobacco is acceptable or not, we have already decided that MZU campus should be tobacco free. Well, MZU campus is very wide. No problem if somebody smoke, because once addicted to tobacco, I am 100% sure it is very difficult to come out of the hook. If I smoke addicted to tobacco, I cannot come out easily of the hook. That we understand. That problem is there. But I am a smoker, I am hooked to tobacco. I may not smoke in my office. I can come out of the road, I can smoke there. I should not smoke in my bedroom so that my wife, my children are safe. I should not smoke in the drawing room so that my guests, whoever come to me, they are safe. I cannot come out of the habit of smoking. I will smoke. I will continue to smoke because I am hooked already. Coming out of hook is very, very difficult. That everybody understands. But at least that much sense I should have, that I should not smoke in my office. I should not smoke in my bedroom. I should not smoke in my drawing room. I should not smoke in restaurant, canteen where so many people. I am addicted. Why should I make others addicted, or why should I have no right to cause damage to others? So you understand. But I am 100% sure Mizoram University offices are not smoke free. You ask yourself and you decide accordingly. If all of you are responsible, you will go by this. Vigilance, our shared responsibility. That small thing let us implement first. I am not objecting to smoking on the roads. I am objecting to smoking inside the office where many other non-smokers are there. I am 100% sure I am not going to name anybody. I am not going to blame anybody. I am not going to give any notification as a VC. If you are not sharing responsibility, if you are not helping administration, why administration should bother? Why registrar VC should bother? You yourself bother. I don't know. You are all officers, that's why I am telling. So with this bitter note, but for good purpose, for a good purpose, I am concluding my speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your experiences and also your message towards the end of the session. And our registrar is very busy with some online meeting is going on, and he suggested me to close the session on his behalf. So a very brief vote of thanks, and thank you very much, and especially our chief guest. And he's a great storyteller. You know, whether we teach physics or commerce, basically good teachers are storytellers. And storytelling has the advantage of entertaining the people, but without sacrificing the educational value. And he knows, I mean, he just uses stories and humor, to stress his point, right? And after after a long time, you know, I enjoyed our, small stories while narrating. So thank you very much, and thanks for all the speakers. And wonderfully, the speakers, they touched upon different perspectives of vigilance. Is not just a simple thing, simple word. There are so many perspectives, and incidentally, different speakers, they touched upon different perspectives. And most importantly, our PR cell, they recorded entire sessions live. And after having edited it, I think they will be available either on YouTube, and they must be available on our website also. So it is going to be good e-resource even for those who are not here. So with this, I once again thank every one of you, and especially my colleagues. We have been here, and it is almost 2.5 hours session. And I'm also thankful to our Vice-Chancellor for his constant presence and for his constant encouragement for all of us. Thank you very much.
Yes.